Did you know there's a vitamin so cheap and yet so powerful that it can transform the way you walk after 70? Sounds exaggerated, doesn't it? But it's not. Let me tell you something. Not long ago, I met Ernesto, a man who was 75 years old and used to walk hunched over with short, slow steps. Every time he went out for a stroll, he ended up exhausted, with pain in his knees, and that feeling that his legs simply didn't respond like they used to, until his doctor mentioned a simple vitamin that costs almost nothing and could make a real difference in his daily life. 3 weeks later, Ernesto excitedly told me he had regained some of his agility. It's not that he was running marathons now, but he could climb stairs without stopping, go for walks without that constant heaviness, and, above all, he felt independent again. And it's not just Ernesto. Studies in older adults have shown that this vitamin is directly related to balance, muscle strength, and bone health. People who take it regularly report fewer falls, less fatigue, and greater confidence in their movements. And the best part is that we're not talking about an expensive treatment or some miracle supplement sold online. We're talking about something simple, accessible, something you probably already have at home or can get for less than the price of a loaf of bread. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to explain how this vitamin can help you walk better, feel more energetic, and reduce discomfort in your legs. It's not magic, but it is science. And if you're over 70, this could be one of the most valuable tips you hear today. So pay attention, because we're going to talk about strength, balance, healthy bones, and how to take firmer steps without spending a fortune. But before we continue, tell me in the comments, how old are you and where are you watching from today? I'd love to hear and read your answers. One of the most surprising effects of this vitamin in older adults has to do with muscle strength. Yes, that strength we often assume is simply lost because we're aging. But the truth is, it's not just the passage of time that weakens our muscles. It's also the lack of certain nutrients that are essential to keeping them active and resilient. This vitamin, which we'll discuss in more detail later, plays a fundamental role in protein synthesis. And you don't need to be a doctor to understand what that means. Think of your muscles as structures that require constant repair and maintenance. Every time you use your legs to walk, climb stairs, or simply stand up from a chair, you're using muscle fibers that, over time, wear down. To keep them strong, your body needs to build new proteins, and that's where this vitamin comes in. Additionally, this vitamin helps with muscle contraction. Have you ever noticed your legs trembling under strain or not responding firmly? That sensation can be related to low levels of this vitamin, which directly affects how muscles receive signals to contract properly. Now imagine Doña Carmen, a woman of 72 who, a few months ago, felt limited even moving around her own home. Climbing 2 steps left her breathless. Her legs hurt, and she felt increasingly dependent. Her doctor recommended checking her levels of this vitamin and starting a daily dose. 1 month later, she not only walked down the hallway without stopping, she even went shopping with her granddaughter again. The sweetest part was when she said to me, "I feel like I have control over my body again." Because leg strength isn't just about mobility, it's about safety, it's about independence, it's about being able to stand up without help, walk without fear of falling, and feel capable of taking care of yourself. So if you feel you lack strength or tire more quickly than before, it might not be just aging. Maybe your body is asking for support you're not noticing. And the good news is that support may be closer and cheaper than you think. One of the most common pains as years pass is the one that settles in the knees, hips, or even ankles. Pain when you stand up, morning stiffness, difficulty taking the first steps. You may have felt it too, that constant creaking each time you climb stairs or bend down. And although we often accept it as part of normal aging, it doesn't always have to be that way. The vitamin we're talking about has a powerful anti-inflammatory capacity. How does it work? It acts on the immune system, modulating the production of certain substances called cytokines. When these are out of balance, they trigger chronic inflammation in the joints. It's that inflammation that irritates tissues, stiffens areas that should be flexible, and causes that constant pain when we move. Additionally, this vitamin helps regulate calcium levels in the blood, a mineral that not only strengthens bones, but also participates in muscle contraction and nerve signaling. When calcium is not properly distributed, small deposits can form in places they shouldn't, like in the joints, worsening pain and stiffness. This vitamin prevents that, ensuring calcium goes where it belongs, to the bones, not the soft tissues. I'll tell you about Juan, an 80-year-old man who used to wake up with knees like cement blocks. Every morning was a battle against stiffness. His grandson helped him stand up, and only after several minutes could he take his first steps. His doctor suggested he start taking this vitamin daily, along with some very gentle stretching exercises. After a month, Juan noticed something unexpected. He stood up more easily. It wasn't that the pain vanished completely, but it was no longer a torment. "Now it takes me seconds to get up, not minutes," he said with a smile. And that's the key. It's not about eliminating all pain at once, but about regaining mobility, about feeling that each day you walk with a little less suffering. To boost this benefit, a great recommendation is to pair the vitamin with a bit of movement. You don't need to run or lift weights. Just walk a few minutes around the house, do gentle stretches upon waking, or circle your legs while sitting. Even mild exercise helps activate circulation, lubricate the joints, and keep the body moving. Combined with a vitamin that fights inflammation from within, you can feel results in just weeks. If you've ever felt unsteady when standing up, or if you wobble even when you're not tired, you're not alone. Many older adults experience this, and the important thing is that it's not just about clumsiness or muscle weakness. Often the real issue lies deeper. It's the connection between brain, nerves, and muscles. The vitamin we're discussing today doesn't just act on bones or joints, it also plays a vital role in neuromuscular health. In other words, in how our muscles respond to signals from the nervous system. This vitamin helps ensure that the electrical signals traveling from the brain to the legs, feet, and muscles arrive clearly, precisely, and without interference. When there's a deficiency, that communication begins to fail. Muscles respond more slowly, the legs feel insecure, and the brain struggles to receive the information it needs to keep the body balanced. This is called impaired proprioception. It's as if the body gradually loses its sense of where it is in space, and that is one of the most common causes of falls in old age. Don Alfredo, for example, is a perfect illustration. At 74, he began to feel that when he stood up from a chair, his body veered to the side. It wasn't dizziness or extreme weakness. It was as if his legs simply didn't respond properly. His granddaughter bought him a supplement containing this vitamin, and at the same time they started a very simple morning exercise, lifting one leg for 5 seconds while holding onto the back of a chair. They did one leg, then the other. A month later, Don Alfredo no longer wobbled when standing. He said proudly, "My legs are listening to me again." This happens because, with the support of this vitamin, the nerves that control reflexes and balance improve their function. And when the nervous system responds swiftly, the body moves with more confidence. Want to reinforce this effect at home? Here's an easy suggestion. Each morning after you wake up, stand next to a wall or sturdy chair. Try lifting one leg while balancing on the other for 3 or 4 seconds. Then switch sides. This stimulates your sense of balance, activates stabilizing muscles, and strengthens the feedback loop between your feet and your brain. Remember, a firmer step, a more secure footfall can make the difference between a normal day and a fall that changes your life. And this vitamin could be the little boost your body has been needing. Now let's move on to the next benefit. Have you ever felt tired even after a good night's sleep? Then pay attention, because this vitamin also has something to say about your energy. One of the most common complaints after 70 is not pain or even lack of strength, but constant exhaustion. That feeling of waking up already tired, of walking a few yards and feeling your legs weigh as if you had sandbags tied to your ankles. It's a fatigue that isn't always explained by lack of sleep or illness. It's simply your body saying, "I'm not producing energy like I used to." And here's where this vitamin shows its power again. Because it isn't just an ally of bones or balance, it's also crucial to how our cells produce energy. To understand it better, imagine each of your cells as a tiny power plant. Inside are structures called mitochondria, which function like energy generators. But for these mitochondria to work well, they need certain nutrients, and this vitamin is one of the most important. Without it, the energy production system slows down, becomes inefficient, and drains you. It's like trying to light a bulb with a dead battery. That's why, when levels of this vitamin are low, one of the first symptoms you notice is fatigue. It doesn't matter if you slept well or ate healthily. You wake up and you're already tired. You walk for a few minutes and you need to sit down again. But when people start supplementing this vitamin regularly, many notice a real improvement in their energy levels. Consider Marta, a woman of 78, who told me that every morning, getting out of bed felt like her legs were two concrete pillars. She had to sit at the bedside, breathe deeply, and wait a few minutes before she could walk to the kitchen. Her granddaughter gave her a bottle of this vitamin and suggested she take it with breakfast. In just a few weeks, Marta began to notice her legs weren't so heavy. She said, "It's like my body boots up faster each morning." And that story is repeated again and again. Older adults begin to regain energy, not by magic, but because their cells, with the help of this vitamin, start doing their work more efficiently. A practical tip: if you're going to add this vitamin to your routine, take it first thing in the morning, ideally with breakfast. Why? Because by stimulating your energy metabolism, many people experience a little vitality boost a few hours after taking it. And if you take your dose in the morning, that effect accompanies you through the day when you need it most, to move, walk, or concentrate. Do you feel drained even after resting? Then maybe your body doesn't need more hours of sleep. It needs better fuel. And this vitamin could be just that. Did you know that one of the biggest fears after 70 is the risk of a fall? But more frightening than the fall itself is what can happen afterward. A broken hip, a fractured bone, a complicated surgery, or even the loss of independence. What many don't realize is that there's a simple, accessible way to reduce that risk, and it starts with strengthening your bones from the inside out. When people think of bones, they immediately think of calcium. And it's true, calcium is the primary mineral that gives bones their hardness. But calcium alone isn't very useful unless it's paired with the right vitamin. It's like having bricks without mortar. This vitamin acts like a transporter, carrying calcium to exactly where it's needed most, into the bones. And it doesn't stop there. It also helps lock that calcium in place, fortifying your skeleton from its foundation. As we age, we naturally lose bone mass. It's part of the body's process. But the real concern isn't losing a little. It's losing so much that our bones become porous, fragile, and brittle. That's called osteoporosis, a silent condition that advances without warning until one wrong step changes everything. What's truly remarkable is that recent studies have shown this vitamin can significantly lower the risk of fractures, especially in older adults. In one study of people over 70, those who took this vitamin regularly for several months reduced their hip fracture rate by as much as 20% compared to those who did not. 20% may sound modest, but when we're talking about life-altering breaks, it's an enormous difference. Of course, a vitamin can't do everything on its own. To keep bones strong, it's essential to combine supplementation with physical activity. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. A brisk walk, climbing stairs, or light weight-bearing balance exercises are more than enough to stimulate bone regeneration. Imagine every time you plant your foot firmly on the ground, you're telling your bones, "Stay strong, I still need you." And when you give them the right vitamin, they respond by building themselves denser, more solid, and more resistant. So if you're at that stage where you notice your bones aren't what they used to be, if a minor tumble left you sore for days, or if you simply want to prevent future problems, know that this vitamin can be a powerful ally. It builds strength from within and protects you in ways you can't see. Now that you know its benefits, you're probably wondering, where can I get it? Is it in food? How much does it cost? Let's look at that next. You've learned what this vitamin can do for you, helping you walk more smoothly, easing pain, boosting energy, and strengthening your bones. So now it's time to talk about the most important part: how to obtain it. And the great news is, you don't need to spend a fortune or search for exotic products to start adding it to your daily routine. First, you should know this vitamin comes from two sources: naturally through diet and sun exposure, and secondarily through supplements. Both methods are valid and often combined to reach the ideal level. Among the richest food sources are eggs, especially the yolk, organ meats like liver, and oily fish such as sardines, salmon, and mackerel. You'll also find it in some fortified dairy products and certain mushrooms. If you eat fish twice a week, have eggs at breakfast, and include liver now and then, you're well on your way. Beyond food, there's a free natural source: sunlight. Just 15 to 20 minutes of skin exposure each day, ideally on your arms and legs, allows your body to produce this vitamin on its own. Of course, how much you make depends on the time of day, season, and where you live. In regions with little sun or during winter, this alone often isn't enough. If you always wear sunscreen or rarely go outside, your natural production will be low. That's why many people over 70 choose supplements. And here's another piece of good news. Supplements of this vitamin are among the most affordable on the market. You don't need expensive brands or fancy formulas. A generic bottle can cost less than a cup of coffee each week and last a full month. For older adults, the recommended daily intake generally ranges from 800 to 2,000 international units, roughly between 20 and 50 micrograms. It's best to start with a moderate dose and check with your doctor if adjustments are needed. People with very low levels might require higher amounts initially. When shopping for a supplement, look for good absorption. Soft gels or liquid forms are ideal, and a quality certification. You don't need fancy packaging. What matters is that it does the job and that you use it consistently. Remember, this vitamin isn't a one-and-done solution. Its effects build over time. It's a daily, simple investment with powerful rewards, a small step that can vastly improve your mobility, posture, and well-being. And the best part is, it's within reach for almost everyone. Some planning, a bit of sun, balanced meals, or an inexpensive capsule. That's how easy and how transformational it can be. But before you rush out to buy it, there's one more thing you need to know. While this vitamin offers many benefits, it can cause side effects if taken without caution. Let's cover the key precautions. So far, we've discussed all the advantages this vitamin brings: more strength, less pain, better balance, stronger bones, and renewed energy. But like anything in life, we must exercise care. Although it's essential and generally safe, it isn't risk-free if used incorrectly or without monitoring. The first and most crucial step before starting supplements is to get a blood test. Measuring your vitamin levels lets you know whether you truly have a deficiency and, more importantly, how much you need to reach a healthy range. Not everyone over 70 has the same levels. Some get enough from sun exposure, others meet their needs through diet, and some have far too little. It's also vital to consider any medications you take. Many older adults rely on chronic prescriptions, and some drugs interact with this vitamin. For example, thiazide diuretics, commonly used to control blood pressure, can raise blood calcium too much when taken alongside this vitamin supplement, potentially leading to hypercalcemia. That can cause nausea, muscle weakness, or even kidney problems. Steroid medications used for inflammation or autoimmune conditions can also interfere with how your body processes the vitamin, reducing its effectiveness and increasing your supplementation needs, though always under medical supervision. How do you know if you're taking too much? While it's hard to overdose from diet or sun alone, supplements can cause toxicity if taken in excessive amounts over time. Early warning signs include loss of appetite, nausea, abdominal pain, constant thirst, or frequent urination. In severe cases, kidney damage or heart rhythm disturbances may occur. That's why you should never start supplementation without consulting your trusted doctor, especially if you're already on other medications or have kidney, liver, or cardiovascular issues. Your physician can prescribe the optimal dose, order a blood test if needed, and monitor your levels to keep your regimen both safe and effective. Also remember, more is not always better. Some people think that because it's a vitamin, it's as harmless as drinking water, but that's not true. Vitamins have specific functions, and excess can be just as harmful as a deficiency. If you decide to take it, do so mindfully. Pair supplementation with healthy habits, a balanced diet, regular gentle exercise, and sufficient rest. In the end, it's not just about a pill, it's about caring for your body in a holistic way. Now that we've reached the end, let's quickly recap everything we've discovered. We've talked about a vitamin that's simple, inexpensive, and yet incredibly powerful for helping you walk better after 70. First, we saw how it boosts muscle strength, foundational for balance and fall prevention. Then we learned about its anti-inflammatory benefits, easing joint pain in knees and hips, where aging hits hardest. Next, we discussed its ability to fight fatigue, giving you the energy to move, enjoy life, and no longer feel exhausted after a short walk. We explored its critical role in bone health, enhancing calcium transport and density to prevent breaks. Finally, we covered how easy it is to obtain through sun exposure, vitamin-rich foods, and very affordable supplements. No, this isn't a miracle pill that solves everything overnight, but paired with an active lifestyle, proper nutrition, and good sleep, this vitamin can be a profoundly valuable ally. My invitation is simple. If you're over 70 and find walking more difficult, feel your muscles drag or your joints protest, try adding this vitamin to your routine for a month, always with your doctor's approval. Notice how you feel. Do you get up more swiftly? Can you walk farther without stopping? Do you feel steadier on your feet? Often, small changes lead to major improvements. And now I want to hear from you. Will you incorporate it into your daily life? Have you heard of it before? Have you tried it and noticed a difference? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know your age, where you're watching from, and how you feel about all this. If you think this video could help a friend, neighbor, or family member who's also feeling the effects of age on their legs, please share it. You might be giving them something far more precious than information, their freedom to keep moving. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you. See you in the next video. Take good care of yourself and keep moving.